Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I was right again. Unfortunately, a prediction of mine came true, but it was a prediction based on analysis, and I will explain. And that is, the West is preparing to send peacekeeping troops into Ukraine. I said this for some time. Here are two of the videos where I mentioned that. US will fight for Israel. US will deploy quote-unquote peacekeepers. That's one. And the other one is provocation of peacekeepers, Russia and China to conduct tralala on November 1st, 2023 and December 19th, 2022. I made these videos claiming, and I mentioned this in many of my videos, that NATO, the West, will send troops into Ukraine under an euphemistic term, which would be peacekeeping troops, love-making troops. Remember this term that I used? Well, let me show you what's going on here. This is the confirmation. This article is from Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. You can see on the bottom. Macron begins consultations with Poland about potential peacekeeping mission in Ukraine. So when you consult, you're talking about the subject, you discuss the terms. It's not about deciding if, it's deciding when. I said that it's very easy, it was very easy for me at least to reach this conclusion or assessment. But hey, let's read the article first and then we can discuss implications. French President Emmanuel Macron is reportedly considering a potential European peacekeeping mission in Ukraine as a safeguard against renewed Russian aggression. He plans to consult with Poland, which he views as a key ally for such an initiative. So Poland, my friends, Poles with the balls, you will be the first one thrown into fighting for our freedoms, our democracy, after the Ukrainians are decimated. Romanians, you will be next. And so on. But we here in America will be just fine. We'll be watching and supporting you from the sidelines. How? We're going to pay for the money and weapons our guys in charge of us will send you to fight for us or for their interest. And we're going to pay with taxes. Let's keep reading. The proposal involves deploying peacekeeping forces from European countries. What did I tell you? If an agreement to end the current phase of the war between Russia and Ukraine is reached, these forces could serve as a deterrent against a new Russian attack. Such an agreement is expected to be initiated by the newly elected US president. So you can say, well, maybe it's just when the current phase is reached, which is going to be stop the war, then we're going to send peacekeeping forces over there. According to the report, discussions on this potential mission will be a central topic during Macron's visit to Warsaw on tomorrow, December 12th. It is also likely that Macron broached the idea with US President-elect Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky, but not with Putin. Okay, how much value does that have? During their meeting last Saturday, as numerous leaders gathered for the reopening of Pop. Journalists speculate that Macron also discussed these proposals in his one-on-one meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer in mid-November, and his discussions with representatives from Northern European and Baltic countries on November 27th. So if Macron discussed this with Starmer before he met Trump, and he spoke with the Northern European and Baltic countries before he spoke with Trump, that tells me they're not talking about the new phase. The new phase. Deploying if an agreement to end the current phase. So it's not about that. Because this was talked before the new phase. Where is it? This is a new phase. All these things were talked before they met with Trump. An expert from a Paris-based think tank, Tannenbaum, Elie Tannenbaum. These guys are making our everything, our culture, and tell us what to think. These guys, Elie Tannenbaum, provided comments for the article regarding the hypothetical design of such a peacekeeping mission. They think that the project would require a force of up to 5 brigades, around 40,000 personnel, with Poland potentially taking command of one brigade due to its military capabilities and strategic location. Hey, Romania, what do you think? It says here, would be most effective with the participation from as many countries as possible, enhancing its deterrent impact. However, he emphasized the importance of a last symbolic US involvement in the, at least symbolic US involvement. The Grand speculated that the Netherlands will likely participate. They will. Again, New Voice of Ukraine, Macron to discuss European peacekeeping mission in Ukraine with Polish. And says suggests that Macron has conveyed to US President-elect that Europe not only has a stake in US-Russia negotiations, but also prepared to contribute financially and assume risks. You guys, you're going to assume risks associated with safeguarding Ukraine's sovereignty. What could the risks be? Being hit by the Russians. And I'm quoting, the essence of France's proposal is keep a peacekeeping mission to ensure that the Kremlin adheres to any potential ceasefire. And again, Poland will be used. So that is, these guys think that the peacekeeping mission will be like this. Trump will scare Putin. Putin will, oh my God, go to the bathroom and take a little poop. Then Trump is gonna tell Putin what to do. Putin will agree, which is stop halfway after he entered in. With what is Trump going to threaten Putin? I don't know. He's got nuclear weapons as you have, so you're equal. I don't know. What threats do you think you're going to have? You're going to have a bigger military going in? He's got nuclear weapons. You can't win. All right, so that's the first one. He's not going to be able to threaten. So did they ask Russians? The Russians will never, I made a video yesterday, will never accept any negotiations on their 4 non-negotiable deals, which is no NATO troops in Ukraine, demilitarization of Ukraine, denazification of Ukraine, and the recognition of those already occupied territories. NATO will have nothing to do with peacekeeping forces in Ukraine. These guys are just, delusional, thinking that they will bring any troops in Ukraine now. You had troops. Putin is kicking them out right now. CIA and others, the trainers and all that. This is what's going on. If you win, you're not going to need to bring any peacekeeping troops. There will be no peacekeeping troops in Ukraine by these guys. If Putin agrees to that, there's going to be not 40,000 people. And I also said this many times, the Poles will enter, if the Russians break the front to come towards Kiev, the Poles will enter Ukraine in the west and take over again as peacekeeping forces, safeguarding that. Remember what's going on right now in Syria? What did Israel do? They entered Syrian territory, the Golan Heights and the Syrian territory, to protect itself from whatever is going on in Syria. And the United States of America supports that. Well, goddamn, what I'm talking about is about the Jewish state. We should talk with the boss. So the same thing will happen here. The Poles will say we have to enter Ukraine to safeguard our national security, like Israel did. And if the Americans agreed with Israel, why wouldn't they agree doing that to the Russians? The Russians will not agree with that. So they will either fight or Ukraine will be partitioned as Poland was. Remember? In the Second World War, it was partitioned between the Soviet Union with those great people in charge of Soviet Union, mind you, not really Russians, and the Germans. Remember that one? Okay. So, let's see what NATO prepares maybe for this, or at least they bring this, according to Sputnik. NATO transfers large amounts of armored vehicles to Poland. Poland, as I said, you're going to be used like a lady of the night by this pimps of the ones that are in charge of our countries. NATO is transferring large amounts of armed vehicles from European countries to Poland. The coordinator of the pro-Russian underground network in Nikolaev, Sergei Lebedev, told Sputnik on Wednesday. This is today. Comrades in Europe report a large movement of military equipment from European countries to Poland. The movement is so serious that it is simply conspicuous on European motorways. I had a lot of videos sent to me by my Romanian friends, and they show me a lot of columns of this kind of things going, I don't know, towards Moldova, north. He also provided pictures and videos of the A63 motorway in France, a road near Magdeburg in Germany, and the Polish port of Świnoujście, all showing the movement of large quantity for military transport. The equipment is probably old, from 1970s and 1980s. First, they want to make sure that the sponsors or the profiteers of this war, which are the arms manufacturing companies, make a kill by replenishing our defenses, by having the countries buy new equipment, giving out. That's the reason for them to give up this. Like you give up your old clothes, and then you talk to your husband to I need more clothes, but what did you do with the other ones? I gave them to, I don't know, poor people. All right, and then you have the reason to buy new clothes here, and then the banks will sponsor this, and you and I will work harder for less. So yes, I think these peacekeeping troops are not only for the freezing the war, which the Russians said is not going to happen. So it can't be but entering in there. Could enter before that happens, and that's my prediction. Enter before anything. The Russians say, okay, we're going to discuss. This is not going to happen. They're going to happen. No, the Russians are in. They're not going to turn away halfway, because they know if they do this, these guys will do it again harder. All right, my friends, here it is. Unfortunately, this is the situation over there. How did I figure these things out? Very easy, very easy. You pay attention, memorize the news, and make a pattern. For instance, when they said the first time, we'll not send howitzers to Ukraine, or when they said, we're not going to send armored vehicles to Ukraine, we're not going to send tanks to Ukraine, we're not going to send fighter jets, we're not going to send long-range missile systems, Patriot, HIMARS, and all that. When they said no Challenger 2, no Leopard 2, no Challenger, no Abrams tanks, every time they use the mountain slope model, which is they start slowly and eventually they told us, after they prepared us with their operatives in the media, they told us what they decided a long time ago. And a long time ago is more than 2 years ago, my friends. These plans are not just made right now according to, they were made before. So, we'll see. The Russians will never accept this unless they lose. How can you lose with your nuclear weapons in your holster? Unless you're shot with a handgun in your holster. That is the top echelon of the Russian Federation. The guys in charge are just eliminated in a operation, in a 1 hour operation. Why? So these guys cannot figure out what's going on. And I'm not talking about Putin only, about military personnel and all, first echelon and second echelon. And they can't do this. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.